Welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on a 2-page layout. It's not for any specific hop. It's just one of those layouts that needs to get completed. If you're new here, I tend to build albums for a specific year, and then I work in that specific year until I'm finished. And I have started building the 2017 albums, but I haven't quite finished my 2016 albums. I'm really close. So I'm roughly 8-9 years behind, if that's what you want to call it. I don't mind working in the past because, as many of you know, my husband and I are now empty nesters. He's currently deployed, so I am home alone. And I am completely enjoying, and have been for some time, watching my kids grow up again as I scrap our family's memories. You know, as a mom, you are always so busy when you're in the thick of it. And I'm just grateful that I remembered to take photos most of the time. So anyway, that is kind of my philosophy about being behind in scrapbooking. Once in a while, I will do more current things if the mood strikes, but for the most part, I build albums and I work out of those until I'm done. I have not completely built the 2017 albums. I know I have February and March, and I have January and February done. March photos are sitting on my desk, and I've been pulling from those photos and scrapbooking them, but I haven't built an album for that year yet. And so, you know, as I scrapbook, if I'm scrapbooking something current, so let's go back to 2017. If I was scrapbooking in 2017 and I decided to skip ahead and do a current set of photos, I would scrapbook those, and then I keep those layouts in an iris case by year, so that when it's time to build the 2017 layouts or albums, I pulled from that iris case and pulled all of the 2017 layouts and put them into binders. And then as I build the month, I will pull from those layouts and get them into the correct album. So again, just a little bit of my philosophy and style of scrapbooking. I do have several iris cases full of completed layouts. I'm looking at 5 of them from across the room. They're on a shelf across the room, and there's at least 9 of them that I'm maybe even 10. So I'm going to pause. We're going to get started with this. This is a 2-page layout. It's just some everyday photos, but there's 2 pages worth. And this is these are pictures of Jasper as a kitten playing behind my computer monitor. He still does this, by the way, but if you can see, he actually has some yarn in his little claws here that he's playing with over the top of my monitor. So anyway, I'm going to be using 49 Market. It is a combination of the Serenity collection, and I have some inkwell embellishments here that I may pull from as well. So I'm going to pause. We're going to get started, and I will be right back. Okay, just a side note, since I was discussing this on my intro, I did actually build my March 2017 album Wednesday night, and I'm not going to say that it's done because I'm going to check to see if I can actually get the April 2017 photos in that album. Currently, my albums are ready to scrapbook for 2017 is the January, February album, and now the March album. Now I do have finished layouts throughout that year, including several Christmas layouts already, because now I am working on Christmas 2017 at least once per month, and that means I have several of those completed so far. I have a total, I think, of 6 albums for 2017 so far. I'm not sure if that will stay the same or if I'll have to buy a couple of more. I suspect that I will have to buy a couple of more. And for 2017, I am using brown leather Pioneer D-Ring albums that I get on Amazon. I like the Pioneer albums, and actually I prefer them over the We Are Memory Keepers. We Are Memory Keepers albums are also nice, but they're a little thinner than the Pioneer albums, and I can get more layouts in the Pioneer album than I can the We Are Memory Keepers. So sometimes when I have a year that I have 13, 14 albums, it's because I'm using such a thin album. Anyway, so what you've seen me do so far is remove some branding strips off my 2 background sheets. Now, I only had 2 full sheets of the Serenity collection left, and so I didn't have 2 of the same color, and I'm going to admit that my OCD was twitching just a little bit that I didn't have 2 sheets of the same. But what I do to make this layout cohesive is I add more brown elements on the left side and more blue on the right side in the form of my rub-ons, so that I have both colors going across the layout. The other thing that helps the layout be cohesive is what I do here in the middle. I have these 2 6x8 pieces of pattern paper. I have scuffed up the edges except for where they meet in the middle. And now I am just placing my photos, which I have trimmed to, I think they're all 4x4. And I don't believe I mat any of these photos, but I do quite a bit of layering up behind them. So I know that I'm kind of working very close here. So I will try to explain what I'm doing as I go. Apparently I just did not zoom out far enough. I'm not sure what happened. I thought I was fully zoomed out. I apologize. So I'm putting a film strip on either side, top on the left, bottom on the right. You can kind of see it down there. I'm taking out those center windows, and I am not throwing those away. I will put them back in the film strip package because MK and Janet from Some Assemblage Required and Galaxy Girl Creations taught us that those make great little tiny embellishments for tucking and layering and all that sort of thing. So I'm saving them for now. This is Jasper. He is currently saying hi. I almost had to pause the video to get him to move, but he actually moves on his own. This is the same kitty that I'm scrapbooking. I like to say when he comes and sits on a layout of him that he's checking to make sure that I get his good side. Anyway, I have that large label down there on the bottom right. That is where it's going to end up. I am currently going through the 6x8 papers again because I'm looking for something else to kind of play with, and I might have just lied to you. I actually am going to mat these photos, and I'm going to mat them on this tan beige piece from the 6x8 paper pad. What I'm doing is I'm actually cutting 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mats. There's 3 sheets in each 6x8 paper pad, which is awesome. But I have 5 photos, so the next thing that I will do is actually build a mat using washi tape and the scraps. And I do this quite often, and honestly, I don't think you can always tell in the final photos. I mean, I guess if you zoom super close, you can see where they meet in the middle. I am scuffing up the edges of all of these photo mats as well. And again, I'm sorry you cannot see what I'm doing. There goes Jasper. He's moving. And here is where I turn over the photo mat. I use this washi tape. If you're new here, I keep a roll of washi tape in this tape dispenser to use for things like this. Most often I will put washi tape in the dispenser that I know that I'm not going to use all of it of, like this wordy bit one. I might use a piece or 2 of it, but I'll never use a full roll of the wordy bits. And the next roll in line to go on this dispenser when this one is gone is actually a set of jack-o'-lanterns, because I also won't use enough of it. I might use a piece or 2 on a layout, but not enough to keep the whole roll separate. And as you know, washi tape definitely has an expiration date, so I try to make sure that I use up some of the older ones in this fashion. I recently again had to throw one away because of it just tore coming off the roll, and I really hate that. So that one's a Simple Stories one. I feel like theirs are definitely better quality than some of the others that I've gotten in the past. So anyway, I am scuffing up the edges using my Some Assemblage Required Distress tool. This is an amazing tool. It is great because it's larger, which means your hand doesn't cramp when you're trying to use the smaller one. My only aside on that is it is very sharp, and so you have to pay attention to how much pressure you put, or you're going to notch your edges of your paper. And in some instances, like on this layout, I don't really mind because I'm scuffing up the edges anyway. I like the distress look, but sometimes I don't want to notch, and so I just have to be very, very careful. It's perfect for 49 and market paper because it is so thick and beautiful, and just I love to scuff up 49 and market paper. So good, I've zoomed back out and I've matted all of the photos. Now I'm just going to sit here and fussy cut some elements. I knew that I wanted to use these postage stamps, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to get them on there to make them look the way that I want them. And I just kind of laid them down for now, and I'm going to take this piece. This is the product packaging from part of the Serenity collection, and I'm just going to fussy cut all of the elements out of this one that I know I'm going to use, and that's all of those flat elements, including the label. I cannot remember if I actually put that label on here or not. We'll have to just wait and see. But the rest of them, I am going to cut out the ones that I know I'm going to use. That includes the leafy bit, and I don't cut out the butterflies. I set those to the side to use another time. And I know it's boring to watch somebody fussy cut stuff, but I just left this part into the video just because sometimes I like to show you my full process, and so here you go. I am just fussy cutting. I will scuff up the edges with my distress tool as much as possible. Now, I am left-handed, and a lot of times you get a lot of instructions about how to fussy cut, and most of the time those instructions come from somebody who is right-handed. And I'm here to tell you that most left-handed people, including yours truly, do not cut the same way as most right-handed people. We hold our scissors differently. It's just a different process. And I know everybody says to move the paper and not the scissors. I actually do a little bit of both, and you'll be able to see that here. Like right now I'm currently moving the scissors, but right before I was moving the paper. And I kind of alternate between, kind of depending on which angle I am cutting it. The other thing I have to be very careful with here on this fussy cutting is that there is a very thin stem, and so I am leaving a little bit more of the white than I would like on there, just because I don't want to break that stem. And it's not going to matter a whole lot. You will be able to see it in the final layout, but not that much. So here I'm just kind of finishing off the details. One of the things that I like to do is cut both sides of something and then leave like a tiny point, and then I kind of just with my fingers gently tug from the back side, and that way there's not a torn bit on the front side, but I don't have to worry about accidentally snipping through a stem. So that is one of the things that I do when I fussy cut. This one's going to be a little bit easier because it's larger than the blue one was. I will use both of these, I think, on the left-hand page, and then there are some laser cut ones that I will pull for the right-hand side. But you can see here I'm leaving just a tiny bit of that white edge, and there you saw where I pulled the little corner from the back side. I will cut out both of those tiny buttons. They will not be perfectly round because well, because I can't cut them perfectly round. But they're good enough. I mean, I could have dragged out my circle dies and used those if I really wanted them to be perfect. But as it was, I was cutting off the little bow ends from them because they were hanging past the button, and I just decided to be fine with that. So curious, do you enjoy fussy cutting? I know many don't enjoy fussy cutting. I actually don't mind fussy cutting. Sometimes if I don't have a stitching project to watch or to do while watching TV at night, I will sit and fussy cut a piece of paper. And that way I have it ready to go. Of course, the other thing I've been known to do while watching TV is sitting on the floor in front of my coffee table with a Pink Fresh Studio stamp, stencil, and die set, and my ink pads and coloring, and getting those ready to be cut out for later use. I have not done that for a while. Maybe I should bring out another project of those. I think I have a set I haven't used yet. Maybe I need to do that. So there, I've got all of those little pieces fussy cut now. The only thing from the Inkwell laser die cuts that I showed you at the beginning of the video that I believe I'm going to use is that braided border that you see lying up near the top. And I'm going to use that at the bottom. It kind of anchors the two sides of this layout together, as do the tickets that I put on the top side. And on the top side, I have 2 tickets on the left and 3 tickets on the right. And I'm going to put a wordy bit over the set of 3. So I'm pretty happy with how things are going so far. Okay, it's time to start gluing down these photos so that I can add the embellishments. Originally, I thought maybe I might pop the photos up on foam adhesive, but I don't. I'm just going to glue them down straight. I know that my distressed edges on the pattern paper kind of makes the photos that hang off of that side on the left. Initially, I was worried that they wouldn't be level, but it's okay. Once I glued them down, the adhesive leveled it out enough, in my opinion. So I'm going to be tucking this photo in underneath the other 2 because after matting them, they do not fit on the layout, and I really didn't want them to go all the way to the edge. So I'm going to scuff up the postage stamps, and we're just going to start gluing things down a little bit at a time to make sure that I get everything where I want it. I have everything I'm going to use up at the top. I know that I'm going to be using a couple of those butterfly rub-ons and some of the other rub-ons as well, just to make sure I get the color on each side to kind of help make this layout cohesive. I really liked this punched out braided border from the Inkwell laser die cuts. I thought it was really cool, and it matches my photos really well, so that's the reason why I ended up adding it. Scuffing up all of the little things here, including my journaling label. I love this long label, and I love that it hangs off over a little bit into my film strip. My film strips are not currently glued down. I don't believe I do that on camera, but I do use, I think Barely Art Glue is what I am using to glue those down. But with my rub-ons, I want to get those on here first. So my main title is going to be one of the wordy rub-ons, but first we are going to go ahead and get these rub-ons where I think I want them. So I put the blue butterfly underneath that film strip on the right, and these brown butterflies I'm putting on the left under the film strips. And I kind of cut it in half because I feel like if I don't cut them in half, I'm wasting some of it and you're not going to be able to see it. So I just tucked it under that second window. Now I'm bringing in the rub-on for my title, and I normally don't go for rub-ons for my titles, but these are large enough that they would work. And funny facts, I didn't realize I had the full 12 by 12 wordy rub-ons until I was putting product away after I finished this layout and discovered that I had the full 12 by 12 pack. I have rub-ons in a different container from the collection for the most part, and for whatever reason, I didn't make a note of it in the collection that I had the large rub-ons, and that's okay. I'll use them. I still have quite a bit of the 6x8 paper left and a lot of the embellishments left, so that is fine. And hopefully I will get to use up as much of the product as I possibly can. So I like the way that this looks so far. I'm gonna go ahead and put these tickets up here where I want them. There is the wordy bit. It says, I think it says happy heart, happy life, or something like that. And my title is going to be hello, happy moments. I cut off the little tiny word hello separately from another part of the rub-on, and it's just going to get layered on top of the other one. So I have all of these scraps from a previous layout. Some of them are already distressed, so I'm going to go ahead and distress the rest of them, and we're going to tuck them behind the photos, and that way I have some more layering. If you know me, you know I love to layer embellishments and things on my layout, but I also love to layer behind photos because I love the way that looks. So I'm bringing out my little tiny photo trimmer that I picked up at Tuesday morning eons ago. I love this little trimmer. It's great for small bits. It fits on my desktop space during a video really nicely. And so I try to keep it handy so that I can use it for things like this. So here I'm just scuffing up all of the little edges, and I'm tucking behind the top of the photo, and I believe I tuck some around the sides of the two outer photos on each side of the layout. I'm going to finish putting the rub-ons here, and I'm going to grab some more rub-ons because I feel like it needs more. I like the idea of using the splatters, and so I cut out a pretty good portion of the splatters, and I'm going to kind of fit them, and since they don't fit the way that I wanted them to, I'm cutting them down. That way that I don't waste any by letting them go off the side. So I know other people tend to just kind of rub on what they want and move it around, but I find that it breaks too easy for me. So I don't know if that's just a Tara-ism or just something that is just easier for me. So now I'm going to start layering up these embellishments. In between video clips, I discovered that I had this blue rose and the yellow one up at the top. The yellow one doesn't make it onto the layout, but the blue one does. And the reason I didn't put the yellow one on is because when I tried to fit it on there, I did not care for it. I believe the blue butterfly might also be from the Inkwell collection. I think it fell out when I was going through the embellishments to decide what I wanted to use, and so it just ended up on there because I wanted to make sure that I got a blue butterfly on that side, and there will be a brown one. You can see the brown one that I'm going to use. It'll be on the left hand side next to the embellishment cluster. So here's one of the tickets that I fussy cut earlier, and I'm going to tuck it in on that right hand side on the right page. And I'm just going to continue with the distressing and tucking process here. I did fussy cut out at least one floral element. There may be two that I fussy cut. I can't remember if I fussy cut them all on camera or not. But here is another little tickety piece. And I have that fussy cut heart from the packaging. There's my butterfly, and I'm tucking that ticket piece up at the top and just kind of moving the other tickets around a little bit. Those tickets are just there to kind of bring both sides together. There's that yellow flower. Like I said, it's not going to end up getting used. I do think I try to fit it on here, but I just don't like it. There's no other yellow on the layout. And that flower, the blue and the yellow flower were actually from a previous layout that I did on camera using a Kitty Petite digital collection, her poo collection. So, and they've just been sitting on my desktop in the way. See there, I tried to dry fit it. I didn't care for it. Now I'm just bringing in the 2 flowers that I do have, moving that heart around, making sure that there's no other laser cuts that I want to use. Oh, I'm actually not done. I'm still looking for different little pieces to add to the layout. I have that little tiny label, and I'm going to use that down here at the bottom for the date. So I'm setting that there, and then here's where I actually fussy cut the little buttons. And I do cut off the little hanging ends of the bows because it just seemed like too much work to sit there and fussy cut out those little tiny bow ends. I don't know that it's that noticeable anyway with them not being on there. And I do believe I used some foam adhesive on both of those buttons. There's going to be one on either side. I'm pretty happy, I think, with this and the way that this has turned out. So I'm gonna be done. Okay, I got this layout all finished. Off camera, I did glue everything down. I added some foam adhesive behind the butterfly and the 2 buttons, this other butterfly and that heart, and this little word phrase and this little label, words are hard, that I put my date on. I also off camera went ahead and added some splatters. I keep Uncharted Mariner Distress Oxide Spray and this Delusions White Linen Ink Spray on my desk because those are my most used ink sprays. So I'm wondering, what are your most used ink sprays? Do you keep them up on your desk or do you have them handy? Just kind of curious how that works for everybody else. So I'm pretty happy with the way that this turned out. I know this video is a little bit longer than what I usually do. 2-page layouts with a lot of mixed media and stuff usually are a little bit longer than a 1-page layout without mixed media, but that's okay. I really enjoyed this process. I kind of needed this process today because I've been feeling a little bit less than motivated. I don't have a lack of mojo, I just no motivation. Anyway, so that usually something like this, just a layout that has no rules, no parameters, nothing for a hop, usually pulls me out of that lack of motivation phase that I find myself in at times. I don't know if that works for any of you as well, but anyway, I'm pretty happy with this layout and I hope that you enjoyed this process video. If you're new here, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Please click that button below. I will have information about me down below. I have a Facebook community group that you are welcome to join. I do ask that you pretty please answer all of the membership questions and agree to the group rules. That's just one of the ways I try to keep the crazy people out, who are people whose sole thing is just to try to sell us something. So my group is not for that. But if you have a small business that is scrapbooking related, I don't mind if you share once, but not all the time. I also welcome you to share your own layouts and cards or any other mixed media art, journals, canvases, whatever that you work on my group. That is just fine with me, and I love looking at your work. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.